This is the Big Lap Chats podcast, where our mission is to help caravanners and campers plan their ultimate lap of Australia. Whether you're dreaming of hitting the road or already travelling, we provide all the information and tools you'll need to bring your dream to life. Tune in as our expert host Annette Jones chats with Australia's big lappers, caravanners and campers, sharing hints and tips for creating the best memories while travelling around Australia. Be sure to check out Annette's website, All Around Oz, Australia's leading site for planning a lap of Australia. But now, settle in and hit play while you're on the road and listen as Annette delivers today's episode.
Welcome back to another episode of Big Lap Chats, and today I have some very special guests with me. It's Katrina and Cain from Hapnin Empty Nesters. Welcome, guys.
Welcome. It is a mouthful.
It is. Oh, it certainly is. And where are you calling in from today?
We're in Bundy at the moment. We're on our way up north.
How nice. Is it raining still?
No.
Oh, no, look, it's been a bit windy and just the odd shower, but no, not raining. So
We've actually been lucky. We've missed most of the bad weather.
We've followed it. We've been down south and we're now moving back north.
Yeah, because they've had, I know I'm from Queensland, and gosh, it's been wet for the last couple of years up there, hasn't it?
It has, and it's so green in some of the campsites that we're going to at the moment. It's beautiful because we've just been down in Canberra and it was so brown down there.
It's not green down there.
And I noticed you were also at Camp for a Cure.
Yes.
We were, yes.
Yeah, I got my shirt on.
Yeah.
Good shirt.
It was an amazing event. Like, we went last year. It was really good and it was a small event. What they've done this year was absolutely amazing.
That's right. They have. Alex and Aaron hat off to them. They pull off a massive event.
Yeah. I spoke to them just before, actually, and tried to get the podcast out in time so we could help promote it and so forth. They have just done an amazing job.
Like we said, like last year we had a little they had a little tin container and like a couple of local acts, and they had this massive big stage. And
big acts.
I think they'd raised more money, like almost as we started, to what they earned last year.
Wow, that's a real achievement, isn't it? They'd be proud of themselves. Yeah, for sure.
Plus, we get to meet lots of like-minded people like ourselves.
Yeah.
If we weren't so far away, we would have gone, for sure.
That was probably, other than raising money for cancer, just meeting other travellers is amazing. It's so good. Like, you've got so much in common and so much.
Yeah, especially your favourite campsites and so forth as well.
Yeah, there was a lot of, we all had our phones out with Wiki Camps and sharing our favourite spots and, I like that one now. And
that's really cool. So what's your story and how did you get started on the road?
Do I want to start? Trina's been wanting to do this for a long time. We've done trips when we had the two boys when they were little. We used to do 6-week trips and do like Northern Territory or Simpson Desert, lots of those sorts of places. But she wanted to travel full time and I never did. It's like everyone here, a bit scared about going full time.
So we were living in Perth and we moved back to Queensland because that's where our family all are. And I really tried to con Cain into, because the boys were in primary school then, and he wanted to, we'll set up first.
I had to set up my own electrical business, so you can't travel and do that too. But, I've always had a heart condition, or didn't. When I was 23, I collapsed on a footy field. And got a defib. So when people say take a defib, I've actually got one. I carry it around with me everywhere. But over the years, just the shocks and that have damaged the heart. And in early 2021,
yeah, 21,
I think it was, that I was sent down to Brisbane for a heart transplant assessment.
Wow.
And thought, holy crap, that's big. So we decided the boys had finished. They'd gone to uni in Brisbane. Yeah, we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
So why didn't you have the heart transplant?
They put me on all these new drugs, all these U-Butte drugs, and I've had ablations now because we've had a few issues on the road, medical issues and that. They always cause a few problems, but the thing is, I've for a bit there because I had to go back to Brisbane. I got stuck there for 6 months and I felt like I was just surviving and not living. So that's really why we're travelling. I don't want any regrets.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much Cain had the assessment and the boys had at the same time, our youngest had finished high school and both of our boys at the same time decided to move down to Brisbane. So we became empty nesters, and then the drugs actually gave him a new lease on life for a while. So we're like, while we've got the energy and we've got no commitments, let's go.
That's fairly gutsy, isn't it? When you think about it, it is, because that would scare a lot of people. And, oh, no, I can't be not near a hospital and all that.
We do have a few people that sit there and write in and say, I'm a bit like an inspiration. But for us, it just, like I said, I just want to get out and live, not have any regrets. And we film it. For me, is just so if someone wants to look back and say, what was Cain like? Cain on the YouTube, yes, that's Cain.
He likes watching himself on the YouTube. But I think especially now, because he's slowed down in the last year or so, like he's slowed down a bit more of what he was doing. And he looks back at them and like, I hiked that. I did that. So it's really good to have it as a memory.
Yeah. And do you find your heart condition actually stops you from doing anything, or do you give everything a go?
Look, it stopped me from working. I probably still could work, but just the thought of being stuck in a roof or under a building and something going wrong, hard work. But what it did do is when we travelled, I decided to write a book. I've always wanted to write one, so I thought there's no better chance. One door closes, others open up.
And it gave you the time
That's
to
right.
do it.
And I had plenty of time to do it. So, yeah, we travel, and when we stop, Trina does all the YouTube and her socials, and I write my book.
That's excellent. And we'll get on to your book and talk about it in way more detail. Because I'm intrigued. So what's your setup? What do you travel in and what do you tow?
We have a 13-foot hybrid van. So it's an MDC Oz RV. And so it's a hybrid, so it folds out the back and our bed folds out and then pops up on the top.
When you hear people say that they live in a tiny caravan, we're in about half that size and we don't have any problems at all. I like it outside. I love outdoors. And, so you live outdoors and that's huge out there. In here is really where you just come to sleep.
But it's at home. Like we were literally looking at times, should we upgrade? And it has everything that we need inside the 13-foot. So it has shower and toilet. We've got a king-size bed. We love it. And he also loves our tow rig. What do you have?
76 series Land Cruiser. I wanted something with minimal electrics because I just don't like limp mode all the time.
Yeah.
So, I did some research and we found a 2011 Workmate. Put quite a lot of mods on it, and it hasn't missed a beat. In 3 years, it's been going along really nicely.
Touch wood.
Touch wood, yeah.
That's awesome. And what year and month did you lose? I'll start that again. What month and year did you leave?
So we left in the end of July in 2022, but prior to that, we did a month trip. And we decided in May that we'd do a month trip and see if we actually liked it and if we weren't going to kill each other living in a caravan together.
We've travelled before, so that probably wasn't an issue. It's more just, can we actually live full time in it and what do we need and what we don't? It's like you tell every traveller, you should really do like a month getaway just to find out what you can live with, what you can't live with, and what you think you may need down the track.
The hardest part was actually coming back and having to go to work for 2 months before we could go. As soon as we got back, I was ready to go. I was so waiting, but I had to finish up work.
That's right. I had a few electrical jobs to finish off. I told them I'd finish all my current contracts off. Wasn't taking any more new ones.
Yep. And where were you, in Brisbane or?
Townsville. So Townsville. So we still have our house in Townsville and we still call it our base. We were very lucky. As we were talking about moving, our next door neighbour was selling her house and she said, I need somewhere to stay for a year. Can I rent your place? And we're like, perfect. She's still renting it and win-win. I think she'll stay there for a while. So we're both very happy with that.
Yeah, that's really good, isn't it? Because you don't have to worry about the upkeep of the place and how it's being treated.
She's so lovely that when we go back up to Townsville, we've got a big shed out the back. She's quite happy for us to pull up our caravan there and let us stay there for a month or so. So it's been really handy.
It is.
Yeah, that's great.
Normally she's got a list of chores for me to do.
And that always seems to be the argument these days. Do you sell a house or not? And we've done the same. Our home base is Hervey Bay.
Yep.
Now. Yeah, just even if travellers don't really want to go back home, they might find a place where they want to move to. At least they've got something to sell and move right there and then in that market, haven't they?
Yes. That's it. So we actually sold an investment house, helped fund the start of the trip. There's been times where I'm like, can we, because funds are running low now, can we sell the house? And Kane's no, if we keep our house, especially with his medical history, we have a base if something goes wrong and we can't travel. So, yes.
Yeah.
It was more for me if something, I know I've got a condition and it can just flare up at any time. It's if something happens to Katrina.
Oh, what? Oh, nothing's going to happen to me.
I've got nowhere to go, but we do have our place at home, so we could go back and just get back into our old life to an extent.
Yeah.
That would be horrible.
I know. It's not ideal. It's not what we want to do. We've got no plans of doing that anytime soon.
No.
Do you know, that's the one question we get asked, particularly by friends and family more than anything, is, but don't you miss being at home and don't you want that routine? And we're like, no, we absolutely love not knowing where we're going next, love finding new places.
I do love the thought of having a home.
Yeah.
If we ever really had to, I've got no intentions. Home is where we park the van. It really is.
Yeah, I think you have to be like a person that either wants and gets it, or the people that are sitting at home in their armchairs, either listening or watching us, they think, God, they're weird. Why would they want to be doing that?
And I have others that have said that they would absolutely love to do that.
Yeah.
But it's just they're scared to take that step. And you said at the beginning, it is a scary step to take, but it was
That's
taken.
right. You can manage a a full year doing the lap. I believe that's definitely achievable for some because you can work on hold, save up. Doing full-time, the funds, they do tend to run out. None of us have found the money tree. We keep asking everybody if you found the money tree, but there's no money tree.
And so, like, you've got to have some idea of how you can make money on the road. And so I'm a teacher, so I can go and do relief teaching, which is what I was actually doing today. So we can do that. And then we do other little things like YouTube or podcasts or side hustles, and it all helps.
I'm trying to sell a book.
Write a book.
And I'll link to that in the show notes.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so what's one thing most lappers overlook that could ruin their entire journey?
Ooh.
Or make or break it?
It'd be a big couple. It's come down to, again, how well you get along with each other. That's probably a big one. That's most people we know, that if there's issues in your relationship or there's tension, it's very hard.
And if you holiday separately, like I know some couples do holiday, therefore then you want to live in a caravan 24/7. That's a very different. So yeah, you have to be used to traveling together a lot, I think.
That's right. And the other one is fear of money, I suppose a lot of them would have, is fear of not having the money to do it, or what they might go back to if they did sell everything, because nowadays if you sell everything to buy back into the market, it's pretty expensive. So it is a big ask. But a lot depends. If you've got family and friends that you can lean on, that helps too.
Do you know one of the things that I think a lot of people make the mistake of is planning where they want to go. So some of them I've seen have planned out their entire year if they're doing a lap.
Yeah.
And even we made the mistake, like we were trying to plan that first couple of months when we got on the road, and we were having arguments about it and that. And the thing that we found is that you just have to go with the flow.
It's probably our biggest arguments we had for in that first few weeks, because we thought we've just got to go and hit it 100 miles an hour, see everything just to go. And we're always, I want here, I want there, where are we going? We needed to know where we're going. And we found out that, no, you don't need that. Just step back, relax, enjoy it, experience it. You don't need to go a million miles an hour. Australia's a big place. You're never going to see it all anyway. And we started to enjoy ourselves. We find some great spots. The pressure's off by having to go, we've booked here, or we got to be here, we got to be there.
Yeah, we really don't book
No,
at all.
we don't rarely book anything.
If we're going somewhere, like we went to showgrounds near Brisbane the other day, I literally rang up about 4 days before we headed there and booked ahead. That's as much as we usually book ahead of time. We haven't this time been over to WA though, and I've heard that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, we're about to find that out. The first time we didn't, normally we would head inland for Easter and so forth, and we were on the Eyre Peninsula, hadn't booked a thing for Easter, and we still got in at Streaky Bay.
Excellent.
Did we have to move a couple of times? Yes, we did. That you expect that sort of thing, don't you?
That's probably the other thing as a beginning traveller you don't realise is that holidays like Easter, Christmas, public holidays, we look forward to them when you're working 9 to 5. As a traveller, you actually dread those because you're like, where am I going to camp?
Yeah, exactly. And inland, we found is, and it's just worked out for us whenever those holidays come around, whether it's public holidays or whatever. And we always get caught out anyway because we barely remember what day it is.
We sort of work on the theory that like the range, anything on the coast side of that's harder to get into and way more expensive. Inland is far easier to access. Plus, there's some really good places to go inland. They're real spots that people overlook. They want to stick to the very outside and try and go around the very outside.
Yeah, and it could only be a matter of 50 or 100 k's in.
That's right.
Definitely.
Broken Hill, for instance.
We spent Christmas 2023 at the Kenilworth Showgrounds. Now, we had all of Cain's family come down and camp. We didn't make the decision until about October that we were going to do it. So anywhere on the coast was booked out. So we just moved inland that tiny bit and we had this massive space for his whole family to come and camp. It was amazing.
Yeah, brilliant. We did a similar thing in January last year, I think it was. Same thing. We headed off from Bundaberg because I've got a son that lives there and, hit Kenilworth in January. No problem at all.
The sunny coast hinterland is another well overlooked place.
For sure. Beautiful.
We love it.
Yeah, just beautiful. We're lucky to be Queenslanders, I say.
We really are, but we've just spent nearly 5 or 6 months in New South Wales, and being a Queenslander, we don't like New South Wales people as much, but
not really.
We've been blown away. The amount of free camps that we've found in New South Wales, and they've been beautiful everywhere we've gone. We haven't really had a bad camp.
No, we haven't. Most of the camps in New South Wales definitely did surprise me because it's got a lot to see.
Yeah, cool. Oh, that segues quite nicely into my next question. What's your secret to finding the most breathtaking yet under the radar destinations? Free camp.
A free camp or our favourite camp?
Oh, both.
Okay.
Look, I'll be honest. The favourite camp, whether it's free or not, it's...
Hey, it's Annette Jones from Big Lap Chats here. Just interrupting this episode to let you know, if you want to get the answer to this part of the question, then you'll need to join up to my membership where you can hear the extended version. The URL to go to do that is blccrew.allaroundoz.com.au. You can also find a link in the show notes over at allaroundoz.com.au/podcast. Otherwise, let's get back to our regular podcast. What are the 3 biggest money-saving hacks that every lapper needs to know before they hit the road?
Before we hit the road?
Yeah, before you hit the road.
While we're on the road.
Just things for them to think about that could help them.
I was like, I'm the money hack queen and I can't think of any of them.
I was looking at Trina, the money hacks to save money. Don't spend it.
Okay, so our first one would be to have your caravan and everything set up so you can do off-grid camping. That, number one, we have saved so much money by doing free or cheap camping.
So, have all that set up before you leave so you don't have to do caravan parks. That'll save you money down the track by spending a little bit more up front, and the same with your car. Just make sure you got your stuff when you're working at home done on your car. That's going to help down the track. They don't have to be big things.
I was going to say other things. If we don't have a washing machine, so we try and hand wash like some things and then just do a big wash, a cheaper place. And sometimes it's a laundromat. Like we found near Carcoar, I can't even think of it, Blaney, the laundromat was $4 at the washing machine. So we wash sheets and towels and everything there. So it's just finding those little savings is what helps.
That's right. They're the little ones. The biggest savings we find while we're travelling, this is during travelling, is just don't go as far as often. Stay longer in places.
Yep.
So you can day trip. It costs more to tow the van if you can drop the van off and just do smaller day trips from that area. We normally find now it's anywhere from 2 days is probably a short stop to about a week. A lot depends on if the place is really nice and we like it, we'll stay there for 2 weeks. The weather's bad and it's just not a nice spot, we just move on. But yeah, don't travel as far, and so you save a lot more money on fuel.
So the way we started off travelling was because we had a lump sum of money, we actually gave ourselves a budget rather than just putting all the money there and this is what we've got to spend. So we actually paid ourselves. We started off with $1,000 a week, but we worked out that we could actually drop that down to about $500 a week. Because if you pay yourself $1,000, you're going to spend it. So we sort of found that. But we cut out money we don't eat out very often. We enjoy a lot of natural attractions. So we really decide if we're going to go and do an activity like a museum or something to pay for, it has to be really worthwhile. Otherwise, we would actually prefer to go to see waterfalls and lighthouses and things like that rather than things that cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's always those couple of big ticket items that you do, but Trina's right. There's a lot of free stuff we can go to or see, enjoy ourselves, and you don't have to break the bank by seeing everything. I can understand why people doing a lap might go, we've saved up this money, we're just going to blast that lap, and we want to see everything we can, because if it's a one-off lap.
Yeah.
We actually think there's two different ways. If you're doing the lap, then it will probably cost a lot more in that year because you're trying to get everything
That's right, and fuel and all that sort of stuff.
Fuel is a big cost for them. Whereas for us, I said we probably only fuel up the cruiser once a fortnight because we're not doing as much travelling around. Full-time travellers, I think you can save a lot more money that way.
Yeah, definitely. And the old fuel apps as well.
Checking out.
We definitely use that in Maryborough. I've seen, if you're Harvey Bay, you'll know Maryborough. $1.58.
Was our cheapest just recently.
I know. I was blown away.
Whoa. That is very cheap in today's language, isn't it?
It is very cheap in today's language. And I was watching an episode from 12 months ago.
Yes.
We're a bit behind with YouTube, and we pulled up somewhere it was $1.80, and I was crowing about,
he was saying how amazing that was.
So cheap. This is so good.
Yes. We're about to hit the Nullarbor in the next couple of months, no doubt. It won't be that cheap.
That's right. Just don't travel with me because you'll have a headwind on the way over. And if you turn around the other side and come back, you'll have a headwind on the way back.
Definitely not then.
No, that's right. Stay away from me.
If you could offer only one piece of advice to someone planning a lap, what would that be?
Do it. Don't hold back and don't get worried and scared about all the things that could happen. Just get out there and do it and see and experience it.
Someone told me once, I was doing an electrical job and I was struggling at this stage, and they said to me, you've got to ask yourself how much is enough, like what do you actually need. If you make $1 million, you want another $1 million. Do you have enough to do what you want to do? And I'm saying, so that's probably the biggest advice I'd give to someone. You don't need a heap of money, and you don't want to have any regrets. You don't want to get to a stage saying, I should have travelled, 5 years ago when I had the chance, now I can't. So no regrets, and you got to say to you how much is enough, because everybody does travel differently. And I thought, we've got enough. I've got an investment property, sell it, and we're off.
We had a car, we had a caravan, and you don't need the newest and flashiest. You just need something that you're comfortable with.
They do say too is try not to have a lot of bills, mortgages and that sort of stuff, if you can minimise those, because it's those costs that'll really impact on your travelling costs as well.
Yeah, for sure. Or if you can clear your debts, that's
exactly right.
Or our rental sort of covers.
So we still have a mortgage,
right.
but the rental covers that.
Covers it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, cool. What's the biggest myth about travelling around Australia that needs to be busted?
Every day is sunshine. We literally started in the middle of 2022 and there was a whole big rain depression that went through New South Wales and we nearly had about 3 months of rain. Like we were picking the sunny day out of the rainy ones.
Wow.
That's right. So the biggest myth, say, for me would be is we do hear a lot of people saying, booked here, this is what I'm planning, this is what I'm doing. You really got to be flexible because that is not going to be a reality. You probably won't have a good time trying to meet those targets because the weather might not be in your favour. Holidays might pop up that you don't realise because state to state has different public holidays that you sort of get hit with.
And also you're going to find a place that's amazing and you want to stay longer, but you've got bookings that you got to go for.
So probably having flexibility rather than thinking I need to have all this planned because it's not all sunshine and flowers. There's some tough days. There's some other days where you're just feeling run down yourself. So you just need to stop, have a rest, and then get going again.
Yep, because it's not a race, is it? Well, I mean, I get it is for some people if they're leaving this date, they're going back to work on that date.
Yes.
I always say you're better off doing, like, you don't have to do the whole lap in one hit because it's going to be there.
Well, one could say we've actually done the lap. We didn't do it all. We've done it over 30 odd years because when we lived in WA for 8 years, we did all the WA coast. We went into the Northern Territory, did a lot of that, crossed the middle of Australia. So we did a lot of it. Now we're back in Queensland. We're on all the eastern coast. But we would have driven, if we got a pen, I've driven pretty much all the outside lines that the normal lapper would do.
Except for South Australia.
We've still been through there, but just...
We haven't explored South Australia. That's the only one, and I'm hanging to go there.
We haven't done much exploring there. The Flinders, I'd like to do the Flinders. I'd like to do the peninsulas more.
Yeah.
And we've been up through Cooperpedy and those places and that, but there's just some places that we'd like to see. And I haven't been down. The one road I haven't been down is south of Adelaide, down Mount Gambier, I think it is, across because we got the Port Perry Ferry. I think.
And Portland. We got to Portland and we had to turn around and come back to Queensland. So
we're like you. We hadn't seen a lot of South Australia, but we've been here since January. I think it was. I know we're not in South Australia at the moment because we're in Broken Hill, and we've done all the peninsulas, we've done Flinders, and underrated state.
That's what everyone keeps telling us.
We got some really good traveller friends that we hadn't met for 2 years. We met them again at Gucci. They said, "Yeah, you got to do it." I said, "I know it is the most underrated." Plus, I haven't been back to Perth since we left, and I lived there for 8 years.
Yeah,
we did, obviously the family and all the friends from work and that are over there. I've never been able to get back. So,
so Kane's actually hanging out to get to WA. And I'm like, we've done most of WA, but it's more to see people than anything.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you can do South Australia on the way.
That's the plan. That's the plan. Just got to get the old hearts. Just got to.
Yeah. How do you stay connected and... I'll start that again. How do you stay connected and productive on the road without sacrificing the adventure?
Well, so I probably stay connected a little bit too much because I love the social media and that sort of side. To me, it's to that balance. We have days that we just go out, leave cameras behind and just enjoy being out in nature. And that's it. But because of Kane's heart, we have a lot of down days too. So that's when we can jump online and catch up with
We're not fully structured travellers. We don't say we're going to film today or we're going to do this tomorrow. We just have a look and say, oh, tomorrow would you like to go there? Oh, that sounds good. The weather's going to be nice. We'll take the camera and we'll do a bit of footage.
Let's tell the truth. Kane would actually be writing his book nearly every day because he's onto the third one of writing it. And I'm like, okay, I've caught up with all my work now. I'm bored. Let's go.
Trina thinks that writing the book, you sit down for an hour and you just smash out some book. It's not how it works.
No, I've written 2 books, and you've got to do it when the mood takes. Well, for me,
exactly.
Yep. Yes, that's kind.
And I said, once I'm in that zone or whatever, Trina wants to talk, and I'm trying to live the emotion.
Yeah.
I usually say, let's go for a drive, and but I'm right in the middle of a battle scene, and I don't know who's going to win. I'm
That's right. I need to know what's going to happen in my own book.
Yeah. But I have read where like authors like Stephen King and Lee Childs, they just sit down every day and write like that because that is their job. They sit down at a certain time, stop at a certain time, but I think I'd be sitting there looking at a blank screen.
Okay, I probably could while I've got the story. It depends. I like doing other stuff too. It's like I say, I love travelling, but it has a big impact on me writing my book. I love writing my book, but it has a big impact on my travelling.
So you torn between
I am. I try and do a bit of both all the time, and then I'll be honest, I then get lazy and end up doing nothing.
Yeah, fair enough. Nothing wrong with that.
I think you need those days too, though.
Yes.
How are you writing? You said you're writing your 3rd book now, or your 2nd book? Your 3rd. Is it a trilogy?
Yes.
What's the first one? What's the first one called?
City of Stone. It's a dark fantasy adventure book. So this is the first one. The second one's probably this big. It's written. It's being edited at the moment, and I'm probably halfway through the 3rd.
Wow.
I don't know whether there'll be 4 or 5 books, but I highly doubt if there'll be any more than 5. It means that I'm selling these like hotcakes, and I'm just trying to now gouge money out of it.
So where can people pick one up? In bookstores or off your website?
No, it's online, Amazon Kindle.
Amazon? Yep,
Amazon. So you jump on there and look it up. So it's ebook and paperback. I haven't done a hardcover or whatever else yet either. And it's budgets and funds when you're travelling, they cut deep into it. So when you pay for a cover artist, it's a fair bit of money.
It does.
And we had a few issues. He did a good job. It's just his time frame and my time frame seemed to be out of whack. And then to get it actually published itself, not that it costs you to do that, but to get some copies printed out for you just to personally sell and sign, that all costs money. And I was lucky that Trina's aunt, who lives in Hervey Bay, is a retired editor. So
fabulous.
So that saves me a lot of money.
Editing is quite a big cost, isn't it?
It most certainly is.
So the link is on our website as well, and otherwise, just Amazon and type in Cain Bennett, and he usually pops up.
Cain Bennett, and look for City of Stone.
I'll put all those details in the show notes.
Awesome.
That would be lovely, because I do need a few more sales.
We'll make sure we get you some.
How many have you sold, Cain?
Through Trina's socials and my socials, I sold physical ones straight off us that I signed for people, like 75 books.
Yep.
And I've sold 22 online. But I haven't sold one for a month. It's like when Trina or people get on with the YouTube, you're probably like that with podcasts and all that. You go, how many people are watching this on you? You jump on there all excited, hoping, I'm praying, yes. And then you see 0. And you're like, but like they said, you can't let that get you down, what you do. And I do. I love writing the books.
Yep.
If you love what you do, just keep doing it. One day it possibly all work out. If it doesn't, I've done what I've enjoyed, so no regrets.
Yeah. But it's been really good for Cain, because the last couple of years he's definitely slowed down on what he can do activity-wise. Like we were doing hikes and that, and a bit too much. But it's actually given him a hobby that he can do. And before, when I was doing some YouTube or other things, he'd be bored, whereas now he is definitely not bored. So I really don't care if I'd love him to sell heaps more, but I just love that he's able to do it.
Yeah.
I look fit and healthy. Every people I see say, wow, you're looking good. And it just happens out of the blue, and every little sort of episode or whatever, it takes a bit out of me and I slow. So I fatigue really easily nowadays. I still try and do as much as I can. few hikes. We've done all the points of Australia except one.
Kosciuszko, and when we were in Canberra, he desperately
haven't been to the highest.
But we did get a tip from someone the other day. They said if we talk to the rangers and let them know that he's got a heart condition, they might actually be able to take him up there on like their quad bikes.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's like one of the your main bucket
That's
list
right. It
items.
was all the points of Australia. So we did the southern mainland most point off Wilson Prom. We've done the Tasmanian one, the eastern point, the western point, the Cape, the lowest at Lake Eyre, because we could walk on Lake Eyre back then when we did that. I just haven't been to the Kosciuszko's Peak.
Oh, next time you're passing by.
That's right. That's the bucket list.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to go looking for some new ones.
Where did your love of writing come from? Is that something that you've always enjoyed or always wanted to write a book? You had this thing bubbling in your head?
When I was married, I've always thought about it at school. A lot of books. I started reading Wilbur Smith. Mum and Dad handed me Wilbur Smith while I was a teenager. Brilliant. And then somehow I got my hands on the Wheel of Time books.
When you first had your first heart issue?
That was 23. I'd read them before that.
Okay.
So I'd read Wheel of Time books I'd started them while I was still at school, and then Dritz de Word and the Forgotten Realms, and then a whole lot of fantasy. I got hooked. And then when I was working doing, work, supposed to be doing work, it was all handwriting back then, so I started writing a book. We had kids and life takes over and it all got put on hold. And
you had the same story in your head the whole time?
Look, yes, it changes. The story's all up here. I got it here. It's perfect. As long as up here it all stays sane. So just a lot of info to be keeping up in your head. I do notes. Some people say there's two types of writers. I'm called a pantser. So we just write, a bit like probably what you said. You sit down and you go, I'm going to start writing. I've got a fear, I'll go here. And then all of a sudden your emotions that are just taking it there. The story evolves from that. I don't plan it. I have an idea of, I know what I want to happen, but the story itself is not planned. Whereas other styles of writers will sit down, like you said, it's my job. Today I want to do this. These are the points I've got to meet. This is some of the critical notes and things I've got to occur within the story, whereas I just let it go. If it wants to go in this direction, I'll just let it go in that direction. Feel it, live it, breathe it.
And that's why he doesn't know in the battle who's going to win. I'm like, seriously, you're the author. How do you not know that?
People live, people die. So if you read the books and get attached, it's probably a bit Games of Thronesy. You might go, damn it, I've just lost my main character I liked. I'm going to have to find another one. That's how I roll with it, to an extent. My real one was I wanted characters that were strong. That didn't. Too many of the fantasies I read, they've got abilities, but they just never use them. As certain I'm saying, if you've got them, you use them every day. If we've got something, we use it. Don't hold back on it.
What's the one tip that saved you bacon on the road, but you read? Oh God, let me see this. What's one tip that saved you bacon on the road, but you've never shared it? Or why can't I get this out? Try again. What's the one tip that saved you bacon on the road, but you never see it shared online?
Oh, I was going to say our main tip is that Cain is very good at going around and checking everything. But I've seen that shared before, but he's very good. I'm like, how did you pick that up? He looks at the wheels in the caravan. Just that has saved our bacon so many times because he's picked up things before it breaks or before it happens and is able to fix it.
I would say having a good relationship and communication. So like I said, I love to write my book. It does annoy Trina at times, so then I do have to listen and go, I probably have my 2 to 12 hours, I say. All I want's 2 to 12 hours. I'm not asking much. But just that communication with each other, just to know what we're both doing or are planning. And, I think that's probably pretty critical. And you don't really see too much of that on, like, certainly the YouTubers are putting out there. Yes, we go and see, you see what we go and do, but you don't see just the little conversations that happen behind it, just to make sure that there's no simmering issues.
And the give and take.
That's right.
The give and take of it,
you do have to learn to be very flexible and understand that, yes, I've had a fair bit of time. Sometimes I think Trina has a little bit too much time. But as I said, talking heads is not a favourite of mine. And she says when I sit down, I do talk a lot, but it's just... I've got to understand that when she wants to do that, I do have to sit down and I do have to try.
He's talking about when I want him to sit down and do a YouTube where we sit and talk. He's
happy, talking heads.
He's happy, loves getting the camera when we're out doing stuff, but sometimes I like to do things like this where we sit down and talk, and he tells me he doesn't like it, but as you can see, he talks a lot.
We're talking to you here. It's different. I know they say I've got to try and think that I'm talking to all the people on the other side of the camera. Yeah. So I do end up talking a lot. It's just to get me there is always hard. I'm like, it's just...
Got to do that again.
It's more I've got to take him away from his book, I'm sure.
That's probably big. As I said, some give and take. So communication's probably a really big one. A lot of people don't talk about when you're travelling, because a lot of arguments probably happen there, because if you're simmering and it erupts at some stage, and you probably could have spoke about it earlier.
And there's only a 13-foot van. There's nowhere else to go but outside. And it might be a bit cold or wet.
One of us is sleeping outside.
That's so true, isn't it? Like, I think in relationships with couples, and I think magnified with families, because there's that added pressure as well, isn't there?
Right.
But I think you learn to accept things a little bit better and bite your tongue a little bit harder sometimes.
Well, we said that quite a few travelling families we meet have children. Now, we love travelling with our boys. I'm not saying we don't, but not having the children and travelling is you don't have that pressure of having to entertain children, feed the children, clean the children, make sure you keep an eye on the children. Do is look after yourself, really, and it's a lot less stressful.
Yeah.
I love travelling with the kids, so I don't want people thinking I didn't like kids. We did it. We didn't do it full time. I loved it, but it's just something else travelling without them, just the freedom and
the pressure's off. Like you can relax so much more.
Plus, I've always thought we can't get too selfish with our children and not allow them to do stuff that they want to do too. It's communication again. You'll find out they might have wanted to do something else, and yet we're just dragging them around doing our stuff to make me happy. There's more people to the party than just me.
I tend to think with families that I look back and the travel that I did when my kids were little as well. And I just go with the flow. You're younger. I think that helps. A bit more flexible, a bit more patient maybe. I don't know.
It definitely helps, because our days are driving 3 days from Perth to Kununurra or Townsville to Darwin, Townsville to Darwin in 3 days. They're big days that knock me about now, whereas we don't have to. 200k up the road.
So when we were just down in Canberra, we were helping out my cousin who's a single mum, and she had to do some travel for work. So we looked after her kids for week on, week off. Yeah. So it was a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I tell you, that was a wake-up call.
I don't know who signed me up for that.
We don't have grandchildren yet because our boys are only in the early 20s, and we have had older children for a fair while now, and we're like, we've forgotten how much energy you need.
Oh, we were exhausted at the end of the week. We'd go away for our week for some relaxation.
Yeah.
It's just go.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Our grandchildren are the same. They're like, go.
Yeah. So I take my hat off to any travelling families. I said some days I think, it's a hard enough day just came nigh. Imagine like also entertaining and doing everything with all other kids as your kids as well.
You do tend to forget those things as you start travelling just with a couple like us. You're right. We were younger. We had kids. We did all those things. We didn't do it full time.
No.
6-week trips and whatever. That's still a fair bit of time, and we had fun.
Thanks very much for joining me today. I know you're busy. I know you're working at the moment, and I know time's precious. So thanks very much. It's been a great chat. Loved it.
Thanks for having us.
I know.
You're welcome.
Great.
Thanks for tuning in to Big Lap Chats. We hope today's episode helped you take another step towards planning your lap of Australia. And if you're already on the road, we hope you picked up some great tips on where to stay and what to see and do along the way. If you found it helpful, we'd love your feedback. Head over to allaroundoz.com.au/podcast, where you can also download the show notes and find more resources to help with your journey. We'll be back next week with more tips and stories about caravanning, camping, and planning your lap of Australia. Until then, happy travels.